Do you ever feel like no matter how much you do, it's never enough? You're working harder, you're giving more, you're dreaming bigger, and yet money, life, and business still feels stressful. That's the trap of the overdoers. The overdoers are the category of money roles we are going to cover today, and I'm going to give you one little shift to help you choose a different money role. So let's get to it. Welcome back to Money Simplified. I'm your host, Amy Circa. We are back in the middle of our money role series where we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden roles that we play with money. Of course, these aren't who you are, they're just characters that you've slipped into. And of course, the best part is you can choose a new role at any time. So we've already covered the money roles where we're leaking money. That was 2 weeks ago. And then last week we talked about the money roles where we are avoiding money. Today is about the overdoers. We're going to talk about how these show up in everyday life and a small shift to help you step into a healthier role. So let's get to it. Now, I feel like I've said this like every week, which is probably true. Hey, that's why I teach these things, right? Because, been here, done that. But several of these they really resonate. Like, oh, it hits home. Yeah, that was me. Okay. So if you are identifying with some of these roles, just know I get it. I see you. I understand. I've been where you are, right? No shame. Well, I don't know what that was. No shame, no judgment. We're just going to choose better. Okay. So the first overdoer we're going to talk about was briefly mentioned in the intro episode. That's the hustle hero. So the hustle hero works harder to, air quotes, earn security. All right. Some examples would be staying up till 2 a.m. working, convinced that if they work more, they're going to make more money. Or they're working 12-hour days because, you got to put in the work. We have to do the thing. You canceled family time to squeeze in more work. You started your business to be more present with your kids, but all they see is your face in the computer or on the phone, focused working. Maybe you're bragging about when you've been burnt out, almost like it proves your dedication. This is one that I've really had to work on. And I'm almost laughing because I caught myself, Friday night, woohoo, having so much fun. I had my laptop with me on the couch Friday night watching TV, doing some light work. But hey, I was aware of it when we caught it. I let myself finish my task and then sat and reframed okay, is this something I really want to be doing right now? Or is it something that I feel like I need to do out of a should? Okay. There you go. Bonus reframe because, hey, we still slip into these things. It's about catching it faster and moving forward. Okay. So your mini shift, block out one rest hour, guilt-free hour, something fun to do this week. Spend 1 hour at a minimum. I would love for you to spend a day. Just take a day off. There was a post recently in a group, a speaker group that I'm in. They were talking about hey, do you work weekends? It's yes, I do work weekends typically. I have at least one day during the weekend that I work, but I'm not working a full work week during the week. I choose when I work my hours. So I'm not telling you when your rest fun hour needs to be. It could be on a Monday. It could be on a Friday. It could be Sunday. Doesn't matter. But schedule the time to do nothing. And it might be a challenge. The first time you did it, you got to put your phone in the other room, lock it up, something because you're going to want to go do things, right? So that's your challenge, your mini shift. If you are identifying with the hustle hero, which clearly I have as well. So you're not alone. The second overdoer we want to talk about today is the generous giver. The generous giver will discount, they over deliver, or they avoid charging full price. So they're tossing in an extra service to just keep a client happy, or they're discounting their services to help out a client, or they're adding unpaid extras just because they feel like they need to do more to keep them happy, right? That doing is a rate there. They're avoiding raising prices because it feels greedy. They don't know what people will think. That over delivering, right? And this is something that I feel like we really have to work on, especially as heart-centered entrepreneurs. And I know that's a large part of my audience. That's who I attract, because that's who I am, right? We do this because we love what we do, right? Like, we want to serve people. But there's a way to go about it without taking away from you. Because behind the scenes, it's that I got to give you more because otherwise it's not enough. If I don't give you more, it's not enough. If I don't give you more, it's not enough. Am I worthy of this? With the price phrases, right? That's the underlying belief. And there's something about when we slip into entrepreneurship, when we choose entrepreneurship, you don't have this as much with like a W-2 job. Now, I know I hear people complain about like not getting paid what they're worth, but for the most part, we understand like we're getting paid what the job's worth as an employee. But when you become an entrepreneur, like we somehow entangle our worth with the money and if we're getting paid and all of those things, and they're totally separate things. That's like probably a whole other series, not just a whole other episode. But your worth, you don't have to do more to earn it. Like, there is a groundedness that we have to work towards there. And if you are somebody who are like, I want to be able to help those who don't necessarily have the funds to be able to work with me higher. That's why you create containers that work. That's why I have Execution Lab, because there was a time and place when I couldn't afford the Unstoppable experience. But I've got the Execution Lab, and it's not about the work that I do within the Execution Lab being worth any less than it is inside the Unstoppable experience. It's still just as valuable, but it's packaged in a container that I wanted to make accessible. Because if somebody's ready to take action now and that's what's accessible for them, let's go. I'm ready to work with you. You will get all, that sounds weird. I'm going to give you my all during Execution Lab when we're there. If you show up, I'm showing up with you. Like, we're going to do this together, and then we get to the place where you can join me inside the Unstoppable experience, and then you get the full experience. That's why it's the Unstoppable experience. But we don't have to discount. There is value in your expertise. It might come easy to you, but it doesn't come easy to everybody else. So the mini shift that I want you to make, if you identify with the generous giver, and I've got two different options here, like raise one price, raise it a little bit, and that's a whole nother series, or don't discount it. Like, sit in the that's the other part, sit in the uncomfortableness of giving the price, stand firm in the price, and just wait. Just wait. Okay? So raise the price. Don't discount it, and just sit and wait what they have to say. Don't assume that it's going to go wrong. Okay? Third rule that we're going to highlight here in the Over-Doer category of money roles is the big vision dreamer. They are obsessed with the future. It's all about the future. They ignore the present, though. Okay? So you've got a 7-figure vision board. You have all these things in place that you want to create, but you're not doing the work right now for the bookkeeping. You're not keeping up with it. You're not getting help. You're not outsourcing it. It's not a priority. Or you're buying the luxury office furniture or the luxury spa day, but you don't have the revenue to back it up. You're talking about having $1 million year, but you don't have a basic budget to know where you're at now. There's a balance. And the balance between knowing where you're going and knowing where you're at without creating meaning about where you're at is key. So the shift, if you're falling into the big vision dreamer, don't lose the big vision. Keep the big vision. Just know where you're at now. Have that strategic part in place as well. So again, set a timer. We've talked about this with a couple different roles. For your shift that you're making, set a timer, spend 15 minutes reviewing where you're at now. If you don't have anything in place, that's probably not enough time, but it's a starting point. And that's your shift. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to all be together, but you got to start somewhere. You got to know where you're at now to figure out how to get where you want to go. Maybe you're closer than you think you are. Wouldn't that be fun? That's the big vision dreamer. The fifth role, the last one we've got today in our overdoer category, is the lone wolf. And you've got that badge of DIY and you wear it with honor. You might find yourself saying, I should already know how to do this, instead of just getting help. I see this all the time with the bookkeeping and the finances. Like, I should know how to do this. Yes, I know. It's not rocket science. But you know what? That doesn't mean it's your zone of genius. And why would you spend hours upon hours upon hours? The last study that I read said the average entrepreneur spends 20 hours a month. 20 hours a month, at least, worrying about their finances, trying to figure it out. If you can pay somebody, okay, so we'll say the standard bookkeeping with me right now is $333 a month. So 20 hours, we're going to do math here, 333 divided by 20 hours. It's $16 an hour and 65 cents. I think your hourly rate is more than that. And if it's not, it should be. Other things that the lone wolf will do, might show up, is you might avoid asking peers or even coaches. Maybe you're not signing up for a hot seat call because you don't want to look weak. So I should know how to do this. But again, you've got that DIY. I've got to DIY it. I've got this. I got to do it on my own. Even if you are overwhelmed, I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for there. Even if you're so overwhelmed. So the shift, if you are falling into the lone wolf, you feel like you got to do it on your own, you got to figure it all out, ask for help in one small area. Whether it's reaching out to a friend, whether it's getting help with marketing, getting help with your finances. What would this look like? Making one step. Like, how could this be possible? That's a huge shift here for this one. Really, any of them. But asking yourself, how could this be possible? How could it work out? But ask for help in one area. Whether it's free or a peer or a coaching container you've already got access to, you're just not utilizing. What might it be? All right, those are our 5 overdoers. We had the hustle hero who's working harder and harder to earn security. The generous giver who's discounting their services or over-delivering to avoid charging fully. The big vision dreamer, they are obsessed with the future. They've got a big vision. You've got to change the world, but they're ignoring where they're at right now. And then the lone wolf. And the lone wolf was the one that wears that badge of DIY as an honor, and they're telling themselves, I should already know how to do this. So if you are really when, because you know what, we all fall into these money roles. So when you find yourself falling into one of these money roles, the centering phrase, mantra I want you to use is, I don't have to do it all. Support with money makes me stronger. And you could really just say support makes me stronger. I don't have to do it all. Support with money makes me stronger. All right, remember, your mindset is driving these roles that you're in, that your mindset, your beliefs, identity, all of those things. So if you're ready to get started now, make sure to grab my free money mindset playbook to start shifting from that overdoing to aligned action. You will be amazed how much rest you can have when you make this shift. You can grab that at amycirca.com/mindset. That link is also going to be hanging out in the show notes for you. Remember, overdoing doesn't prove your worth. Choosing support builds your freedom. And there's so much we can dive into with so many of these, but I wanted to give you the highlights. So we introduced the series 3-4 weeks ago now. We talked about the earners who are leaking money. We talked about the avoiders, how we are avoiding our money. And now this week was our overdoers. We have one more category with 5 last money roles that we have sabotaged our relationship with money with. We're going to talk about that next week, but make sure to stay tuned because then we get to dive into choosing the money role that we want to be in and how to do that, how to embody that, what that looks like. I'm so excited for it. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.